What is up, all you beautiful people? How's everybody doing? How's everybody holding up out there? It's a crazy world we live in right now. Crazy world we live in right now. Is my light might be too bright. Let me know if you can hear me. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. This was just a spur of the moment type thing. I hope you guys are doing great. Awesome to see all you guys in here. With a nice little Halloween Kills update. There's some developments, especially if you like via Twitter, like Jason Blum. I actually got some snapshots for you guys, but yeah, I mean, there's not too much. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys can probably guess what's gonna, but I mean, like I said, it's up in the air. We don't really know. First off, I'm a little nervous. This is where I don't stream as much as I should stream, you know? But I got my little setup here. I got my little ring light there. Got some mood in the background. And really cool to see all you beautiful people in here. So let me get my bearings about me. All right, we already got 100 people watching. Jesus. That's pretty cool. First off, I want to know toilet paper. Do you guys have toilet paper? Are there some of you that don't have toilet paper? I have a little toilet paper story for you. Chase Moser, Vincent Bennett, Beth S. What's up, Beth? Dave Vanderhoff. What's up, Dave? How you doing, brother? Jake Stilder, comic book fan. The Plush Makers, Jonathan Nichols, Stephanie G. Stephanie, how you doing? Lost Boys, Bayous. Did I say that right? Bobby Hall, what's up, brother? Bobby Hall has his own Halloween 6 cut. Jill from Horror Ghoul, how are you doing, Jill? Rick Storm, That Movie Nerd 95. Tony Movie Chappelle, he's a Neil Blomkamp fan. Neil Blomkamp directing a Halloween movie. How cool would that be, right? Lost Boys, Bayous, thank you so much, man. We need a Hallow Stream Kills. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get, when you got 6 different people getting our ducks in a row, getting everybody lined up evenly, it's tough. No TP, but we have paper towels. Rip them and divorce, all good. Yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to get paper towels. Craig Adams, Priscilla Byatt, a lot of people in here, man. You guys are awesome. Now, today, speaking of toilet paper, there was a guy. We were going to pick up like a headboard from this guy, and somehow in the conversation, because we were doing it through like Facebook Messenger, he stated that he's not going to be there. We can come pick up the headboard. He's going to be out picking up toilet paper. And I was like, oh, you don't have toilet paper? And we have some toilet paper. We have a nice surplus of toilet paper. So we were like, why don't we bring this guy a couple rolls of toilet paper? And we left them right there in front of his door. But he stated that somebody wanted to charge him $40 a roll. Let me repeat that. $40 for a roll of fucking toilet paper. If you're doing that, you are the scum of the earth. If you are charging people that much, wow. Leela stopped in to say hi. What's up, Leela? How are you doing? Nice to see you in here. Are you at work? I don't know. Leah, just wanted to say that I'm good. We have tons of food and toilet paper for this coronavirus, and I feel like people are overreacting and over panic on this virus. I agree with you. I do. Jacob from Cinema Junkies, how are you doing, brother? Loving that vinyl, man. That's awesome. I will touch on that as far as like the overreaction. I was listening to Howard Stern. Holly, she's a big Howard Stern fan. And Dr. Agus, who is one of the biggest specialists in the country in terms of this type of stuff and viruses, all that stuff, he was stating that we are right now in kind of a defensive mode. You know, there's a lot about this virus that we don't know and didn't know. And he says a lot of the preparations are coming. They're getting the medications that they need. We're about to go into an offensive mode. And this guy himself thinks that within 6 to 8 weeks, we should be out of this, and that was pretty promising, pretty eye-opening. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. But when you have a professional like that makes that kind of educated guess, then I tend to lean on it. But like I said, anything can happen because this is new. This is something that we've never dealt with before. So Craig Adams, thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. But that does tie into this Halloween Kills. And will it be delayed? And you know what? Let's jump into that. Let's cut right to the chase. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think Blumhouse, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that this movie comes out. And a big reason for that is because it's October. That is a big month for Halloween. We saw what happened with Halloween 2018. Part of the success of that, I don't know, a small part, a big part, was releasing that in October. It was a huge plus, huge bonus on their part, because when do we want to see a Halloween movie? We want to see it in October, right? So, do you guys got your drinks with you? This is going to be a laid-back Halloween update, okay? I'm not going to be like going boom, 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 all right? I'm going to be touching on things that didn't sound right at all, and then just, we're going to go with the flow, right? I might change my mind in the middle of this. That could happen. Who knows? But I got a Coke, and I got a Gatorade Zero. And if we get crazy, I might pull a Monster. Who knows? Comic Book Fan is a big fan of Halloween 2018. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some tweets that I found. I came prepared for this, okay? Even though I literally just put this thing together 2 hours ago. I was like, you know what? I got some time. I was going to actually record a video for this, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to save myself a little bit of time. I just put out my Exorcist 3 review. I don't really want to jump back into editing and all that stuff, so I figured, you know what? This could be really fun, too, because I get to hang out with you guys. Holly's got a nice glass of wine. Cool. So, anyway, Brock Key Klein. What was the news involving the trailer? All right, here we go. I'm gonna go right over to what I found. If you go on Twitter, let me pull this up. Hold on. Now, Jason Blum, he did leave off a little scare. Here we go. Okay. So I got some pics up there for you. I got a couple tweets you can see there. We'll start with these tweets here. Now, Lee Lewis, I don't know these people. All I know is Jason Blum, but I'm just following the thread on Twitter. And he said, we need something to look forward to with all this lockdown and isolation. And one of the responses to that by Johnny Rock was, as long as Halloween still comes out, I'm open to 2020 getting even worse. Am I reading that right? So Jason Blum, he says, I'm going to make it happen no matter what. That's a big statement right there. Does he mean I'm going to make it happen, the trailer? Or does he mean I'm going to make it happen, the movie, no matter what? And some of you guys might know the context a little bit better than I do. So, if you know a little bit more than I do, feel free to drop it in the chat. But this is directly off of Twitter. And if we go over to the right side of your screen, you'll see, again, Lee Lewis on there. He says, we need... Oh, yeah, okay. This is regarding the actual trailer. Because this guy wanted the trailer. And Jason Blum said, we're tweaking it. I'll tell you something. It's looking really good soon. So, I'm still guessing, and I've always guessed, that May, early June is when we're going to see a trailer. I still hold to that. Now, as far as the actual movie coming out, like I said, they're going to do whatever they can to get this thing out. A lot of that depends on what happens with this virus. But like I stated earlier, if Dr. Agus is right, if his prediction is right, then 6 to 8 weeks, maybe May mid-May we start trying to come back to normal. I'm sure they'll do this in phases. Like just recently here in Florida, they put everybody 65 and over on lockdown. So that makes me think they're going to do this in phases when they start letting people come back out of their houses. There are people in, overseas in Europe, just other countries. I've gotten messages from people in Croatia, there's a couple different countries I've been getting. South Africa. There was another one of my subscribers said South Africa, thanking me for my videos. It gives them something to do because these are people that cannot leave their house. Some of you cannot leave your house, I'm sure. And man, my heart goes out to you. It really does, because there's still a lot of places in America where we can go out. Also, big shout out to Jules too. She shares my stuff a lot on Twitter. Big thank you to Jules for that. Really nice. But yeah, that's pretty much the big thing in a nutshell, is that they're going to do whatever they can to get this thing out. If everything goes according to plan and we're out of the house come mid-May, yeah, they're not going to lose that October date. And I think a lot of these movies that were supposed to come out, like Black Widow, like Wonder Woman, all those movies, like Wonder Woman's already been rumored to go to August. So a lot of those titles that are already in a date that haven't made an announcement yet, then I guarantee you they're going to hold that. Jason Nike, what's up, man? Jason Nike asked me a couple days ago. He's like, hey, can we get another live stream? And I told him this weekend, and here we are, Jason. So I'll give you some credit on this. Jesse, I'm your newest fan, Drumdum. Thank you. My daughter's name is Jessie, so that's awesome. Now, when we get through the Halloween Kills portion of this, I'm going to be throwing some questions at you guys. I want to hear your opinions on some things. Make this fun and interactive. I don't like it to be just my talking head. I'd like to get some feedback from you guys too, because we're all Halloween fans, okay? Some of you guys know more than I do, all right? I just have a platform. So maybe we can all get together on my platform. Stupid. You see what happens when you speak before you think? Jeez. I'm taking a drink. You take a drink too. Tyshawn, what's up, brother? Tyshawn, help me and Tyshawn, man, we go way back. Like, we've probably known each other, what, like 4 years now? Tyshawn? Good dude, man. Yeah, a lot of you are working from home, and some of you aren't working. I've heard horror stories about people getting laid off. It's tough out there right now, guys. I'm going to read you one more thing from Jason Blum that scared the shit out of me. Hold on. Guys, this is delicious. I was at the store today. They were sold out of orange regular Gatorade, and they were sold out of pretty much all of your fruit punch, your lemon lime. And all I saw was this like zero. And I was like, that's probably going to taste really bland. But Gatorade kind of tastes bland anyway, so I figured I'd try it. It's delicious. It's really delicious. So I recommend Gatorade Zero, Okay. Now, usually I have the lights on in here when I'm streaming, but I thought today, you know what? I'll put some backlighting in here and set the mood a little bit, and then, have the light in front of me. It took me 5 years to finally learn proper lighting. Can you believe that? Okay. I'm going to read a couple of your comments, all right? Ebert Thon, what's up, brother? Nice to see you in here. Yes, we appreciate all your content, Lee. Oh, I got to scroll back up. Damn it. What did I do? Did I lose it? Okay. During this crazy time, Jake Slider. Now, I can't see because my computer's back a little farther. I think it says Slider, yeah. All get together on my platform. There you go. Amstel54, how you doing, brother? He says, where's Beth? And Beth, she just came back in, so you're good there. Comic book fan, Halloween Kills should be coming out in October, or else the release the movie somewhere in the fall. Well, I mean, that's pretty much... I can't see them pushing that date back. If it doesn't come out in October, then I'm calling it. They're pushing it to next year. I think they want that date so bad that I don't see them putting this movie out in November or December. No way. Chris Fluff Salisbury, how you doing, brother? Nice to see you. Dude, I am so sorry, man. God damn. You got laid off? That's insane, man. You know what, though? The type of guy that you are, I guarantee you, employers, they're probably killing each other to get employees like you. So I am not worried at all, dude. I guarantee you, you'll jump back in there in no time. But man, I am so sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. Steve McCoy, like that last name. He says that platform better be able to hold some weight if I'm getting on it. Mary Smith, are we supposed to be able to see you? Oh no, hold on. You know what? Hold on. Let me change it back. That's my fault. Okay, I'm back. You can see me now. I apologize for that. See, I told you I'm the most unprepared person on the planet, and I'm about to switch it back so you can see that post from Jason Blum. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna get off. Then I'm gonna put it back on me. Okay? I apologize for that. Let me go down here. Brock Savage says I lost my job as well. Can't bust tables from. Yeah, there's a lot of fields out there right now that without a population in there, they can't do their jobs. So it's a big ripple effect too, guys. It's pretty rough, but I'm hoping after this thing, after we're able to come back out into society, that a lot of these jobs come back to us, and we get back on our feet. Anyway, yeah. Let me open this up. I want to read this thing from Jason Blum, and I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just put it on there for a second, then I'll just read it from my phone. Or you know what? Maybe I'll put it right beside me. Hold on just a second. Let me shut that off. What'd I do? There we go. Okay. This is a thing that Jason Blum posted on there too, and I got really scared because the title says 2020 canceled. So I thought, oh my God, is he saying that everything from this point on in their release schedule is canceled? And that got me scared. So if you read it, it says, after careful consideration, we've decided that it is no longer in the best interest of everyone involved to proceed with 2020. While we recognize that a lot of hard work has gone into preparing for 2020, if we're honest, it has turned into a bit of a shit show, and we feel it is best to just call it off. We understand that some of you were looking forward to seeing what cruel and peculiar clusterfuck of a disaster 2020 would throw up next, but on balance, we believe it is probably best not to find out. We will instead provide ticket holders with a full refund or an exchange and start fresh with 2020 on Monday. So then that kind of told me I think that's a joke. So, plus I can't imagine if in 6 to 8 weeks we're going back to normal, I don't think they would just say, hey, no movies for the rest of the year, right? So anyway, let me go back to here. Okay. So yeah, that's what that was all about. So Jesse wants to know if anybody here is infected. God, I hope not. I saw something on Twitter. A CBS news anchor, she passed away and she's in her 50s. So horrible, just horrible. Okay, let me look at my list of goodies here that I wanted to discuss with you guys. Okay. So we talked about, let's review, okay? We talked about the toilet paper that was, this guy was trying to sell toilet paper for $40. Fuck that guy. We talked about the Blumhouse tease, because of course he's not going to say when the trailer's coming out. But I'm still maintaining May, June. That's what I'm thinking for the trailer. Okay, now I got some questions for you guys, some topics that I'd like to discuss. First off, let's talk about Loomis in Halloween Kills. Yes, I did an update on the test screening. I learned a little bit of information about the movie, but not enough to call it like spoiler type stuff. I learned that we all know that there is a flashback scene. All right, that's widely known now. Everybody's stated that. Now, what we don't know is what is all in that flashback scene. There's some speculation out there. We've seen pictures, so we know that there's a Myers. Of course, if it's flashback, they're going to show Myers. It's going to be some stuff from a different angle, maybe a scene that we didn't see in the original movie from 1978. But there's a lot of speculation about Loomis himself. And what I want to know from you guys is, do you want to see Loomis? Even though you know it's not going to be Donald. It's going to be CGI with a body double or something like that. Is that something that you want to see in this movie? And I'll hold my answer until I read a couple of your comments about this. You all know how much I love Loomis. I mean, Loomis is, to me, just as important as Myers is. He's a really, really important character. And as a matter of fact, I just did my Friday the 13th top 10 things or 13 things the franchise gets right. And one of my commenters said, you boast so much about this franchise, one would think that you actually might prefer the Friday franchise over the Halloween franchise. And I said, Halloween does have the best first four movies. Not saying each one of those movies is better than say Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween. I'm just saying as consistency goes, those first four movies in Friday are amazing. But the big thing with Halloween that puts it above all the rest is Loomis. You don't have a Loomis in Friday the 13th. And also, I'd say the tone too. I'm glad we have a Friday and we have a Halloween. I wouldn't want Friday to be like Halloween and vice versa. I like that Friday is more fun. So, Simon Moon, what's up, brother? Nice to see you in here, man. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, I would love. He says he would love to see Loomis too. Steve McCoy says, I don't think we need to see Loomis, but I wouldn't be against it if it was done right. Yeah, and I think that's important too. It would be cool if we saw, maybe if we learned a little bit about Loomis that we've never known, without going too far with it, of course. You don't want to give too much away in terms of Loomis. You don't want to take away the essence of that character that we all know and love, because there's, as much as there's some mystery to Myers, there's also some mystery to Loomis. We don't even know, if we look at those first six movies, if Loomis even had kids. We don't even know if Loomis was married. So there's a lot open to interpretation with the character, and I think that's a great thing for future sequels, because we could play around with him without going too far, Bobby Hall says, I don't want a CGI or a deep fake Loomis, but a body double's fine, or maybe some unused footage or audio from Donald Pleasance. That would be awesome. If they have any unused audio from Donald Pleasance, I would be very curious. Now, let me read a couple more of yours. Stephen Peasley says, I've been sick for 3 weeks now and out of work. Are you sick with the virus? Or if you don't want to say, that's fine too. But sorry to hear that. And it just so happens this is flu season too. So that presents another dilemma, because they don't know if, a lot of people that are getting sick, they think, oh shit, I have the virus. You don't know. That super chat earlier by Haley, thank you so much. I didn't give you credit for that, but I appreciate it. I'm looking for some more. So Jesse says, Ted White, best Jason besides Kane Hodder. Yeah, Ted White's my favorite. One of my categories in that countdown, I had to put all of them on there. Can we do it? No. Halloween Kills. No, there's been no official announcement yet as to if it's delayed. Okay, so. And if you go back to the stream on the replay, you can see pretty much all my updates as far as Halloween Kills go, because I've pretty much told you everything that I know, everything that I've gathered. So I don't think there's anything left out. Now, this is a funny question. OG Kush says, would you want to remake Rob Zombie's Halloween? No. No, and Rob Zombie's Halloween is one of my least favorite movies of the franchise. So I guess the real question is, would you want to remake the first Halloween? And that one's interesting too, because part of me would be curious. I mean, Rob Zombie's original idea got me curious, even before he announced what his premise was going to be for his remake. I had always wondered, what was it like in that household before Myers did his thing, when he was a little kid. I'd always wondered that, actually. And when Rob Zombie presented it, I kind of regretted wanting to even know it. I think, if anything, I learned from Rob Zombie's Halloween that you don't want to tell that story. Or if you do, you still want to make it as mysterious as possible. I mean, that's what makes Myers so interesting, is that you don't know. He just killed his sister for no apparent reason whatsoever. Just pure evil. That's the only excuse we've ever been given, is you are pure evil. That's it. It's just like pure evil is a good reason to give somebody if you don't want to take the time to explain everything. Like Stallone, when Brian Thompson from Cobra, he came up to Stallone and he was like, hey, I'm kind of digging this character that I'm playing, the Night Slasher. What is my motivation here? Can I get a little bit more of my backstory? And Stallone said, no, you can't. You are just evil incarnate. That's all you are. And I think by not knowing anything about the Night Slasher, I think that made him creepier. So sometimes knowing some stuff is good. And when you have 11 movies in the franchise, of course you're going to explore a little bit of that stuff. But in those first few movies, I think you want to be really careful, especially when you're establishing a franchise. You don't want to blow your load too quick. You know what I mean? So Juno 2000 says he thought Rob Zombie's Halloween 2007 was underrated. There are things that he had moments there, But I think Tyler Mane looked amazing as Myers, actually. I think the first scene when he puts on that mask after escaping from Smith's Grove, that was a really cool scene. Yeah, I think that's what it is about Rob Zombie Halloween. I think Rob Zombie said, ooh, this will be a cool scene. Ooh, this will be a cool scene. He probably had like a list of 10 things that he wanted to put in this movie, and then he kind of built his story around that, maybe. And I'm just guessing, but if you look at Rob Zombie's Halloween, you could probably point at some really cool scenes here and there, But overall, there are things that I really, really, really dislike about the movie. And it doesn't help that the first 10 minutes of the movie make you want to throw pickles at it. Or pick your vegetable. Is a pickle a vegetable or a fruit? That's a question. But, now like Holly said, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, different story. Because it completely separated itself from everything in the franchise. Rob Zombie was able... And to give Rob Zombie credit, too, he had to stick to a certain playbook in that remake. He still had to tell that story. Whereas in Halloween 2, he pretty much had carte blanche. He could do whatever he wanted. And I think because of that, I ended up loving that movie. Destiny Faulkner says, Halloween 2007 is nostalgic for me. That's a big word, too, nostalgia. I watched it with my dad, and siblings when I was younger always has a weird special place in my heart. Yeah, and nostalgia is a big thing, I think the last stream, Beth was talking about H2O, and it was nostalgic for her. A lot of people that love H2O, they seem to be really nostalgic for it. They saw it in the theater when it came out when they were teenagers. This was me for Halloween 4. I saw Halloween 4 when I was 15 years old, and it left such a lasting impression on me. And I'm sure that Halloween 4 is probably not as good as I think it is or as I make it out to be. And I think nostalgia has a really big part in that. Mitchell Kindly, thank you so much. Thank you kindly, Mitchell. I appreciate the kind words. Whiplash, the autist, wants to know my thoughts on Toy Story 4. Since you've asked that a couple times, I'm going to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised with Toy Story 4. I have not seen Toy Story 3 because I was actually deployed in the military at the time. So Toy Story is one of those things, though, that I don't have to... I felt like I didn't have to see Toy Story 3 to watch Toy Story 4. So, I loved Toy Story 4, actually. I had a really good time with it. It had some nice heart-wrenching moments in it. I think my favorite character was kind of that horror character that... And I wonder if they were inspired by Deep Red, because those creepy dolls that were in the movie, they kind of reminded me of the doll in Deep Red, which is cool. Can We Do It says, have you ever played Dead by Daylight? It's a video game which has characters like The Shape, Freddy. Yeah, I've heard about Dead by Daylight. I'm not a gamer. I don't have time to play games. I wish I did. So that's a question I've gotten quite a bit too. I've never played Dead by Daylight. I've never played the Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th game. If somebody put in front of me and said, here, play this for 20 minutes, I'd probably enjoy it. But it's not something I gravitate towards, And I think it's a generational thing, Today's generation of young people, they love video games like crazy. Whereas me, I'm in my 40s, like late 40s now, and I think it's just a generational thing. My days are so busy that I don't have time for video games. I really don't. I wish my son, he loves video games, Awesome Cool Guy, which was worse, Halloween Resurrection or Jason Takes Manhattan? I'll say Jason Takes Manhattan, and I'm sure half of you probably disagree with me on that because there is an element of fun to be had in Jason Takes Manhattan. So I'll say Jason Takes Manhattan is the funner movie of the two, or more fun. Is funner a word? I think it's a word. I'm going to go with it. Jason Takes Manhattan has some really fun moments. I mean, you don't get to see Myers punch somebody's head off. So, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I talk myself out of it. I don't know. It's tough. I think Jason Takes Manhattan knows what it is too. It's very self-aware. It pokes fun at itself. I mean, you got Jason walking in Manhattan and he lifts the mask up and shows the thugs and they run away. That's funny stuff. So, you know what? I'll change my answer. Why not? Jason X says, Lee, you got to get on those drums. Yeah, I know. I got to get my electronic kit. That's my son's. And we took his kit over to his apartment. So I have my acoustic kit, but I haven't set it up yet. One day, though. One day. Horgul, Jill says, I know you love Jallows, Lee. Have you seen Four Flies of Grey Velvet by Argento? No, I have not yet. And usually my thing with Argento movies is as soon as I see them, I fall in love with them, and I say, I have to go to my review chair right now. And I don't do that with every movie. Like, there's so many movies I watch that I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. Moving on to the next thing, But then there's certain times I watch a movie and it has such an impact on me that I'm like, I have to go talk about this movie right now. So far, every Argento movie has done that to me. I've pretty much fled to my review chair to sit down and just talk. Same thing with Exorcist 3, even though I was planning on that one. As soon as I finished watching it, I was like, I got to talk about this movie. So, no, the next Argento one that I'm wanting to do, because I just did Fulci's The Beyond, which was great, by the way. Ooh, that one was really good. I don't know. I think I'm doing the sequel to Suspiria, and I always forget the name of it. Matthew, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Thanks for the super chat. What do you think they will do after Halloween ends? It depends. Everybody says they're going to reboot the franchise, and I think they will eventually. But I mean, I don't know. It might be a while, but I'm guessing like a good 5-year wait after Halloween ends. But I mean, if that movie makes, like Halloween 2018 money, they might even go for a 4th part of that trilogy. They might want to continue the story if there's more story to be told. That's something that I don't hear people talking about too much. People always assume that Ends is going to be the last of it, which they're probably right. Inferno, thank you very much, Jill. But I think it's possible that as long as you don't see Myers in ashes at the end of the movie, because hey, we all remember the final chapter, right? Remember what happened to Jason in the end of the final chapter? I mean, he was pretty much that cubed beef that you see in your soup. They have, I think it's like cubed beef soup, or it's good over rice too. But that's pretty much what Jason was at the end of that. I mean, he was stew. He came back. So anything's possible. Now Michael's age is definitely going to factor in though. Jason Nike says, would love to see a Stallone ranking. Yeah. Have there been any Stallone? Now, the only Stallone movies I haven't seen are probably ones when he was like really, really, really young. But everything after that, I think I've seen. It would be a long list because he's done, I'd say at least 30-something movies, 30, 40 movies now. Juno 2000, do you think Knock Knock is Keanu Reeves' worst film? No, I don't. I'll tell you what that film is, okay? I'm going to take a drink real quick, and I'm going to tell you what Keanu Reeves' worst film is, okay? We'll say it together, okay? Because I know you know what I'm going to say. So we'll all say it together. Hold on. I'll count us down. Okay. You ready? Keanu Reeves' worst film. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Johnny Mnemonic. Next question. All right, hold on. Let me go to my list here. Hold on. Johnny Mnemonic. What a piece of shit. Whew. That movie's rough. Oh, Holly wants to know if I figured out what the Halloween-like movie was. Yes, I did. I posted on Killer Flicks today. There was a movie that popped in my head that I heard about years ago, and they said this movie is, I mean, it's a ripoff, like a direct ripoff of Halloween in terms of like the score, the story, the tone, everything. But I couldn't remember the name of it. And so I posted it on Killer Flicks, and everybody thought I was joking because, I mean, Halloween kind of started the slasher craze. No, it wasn't the first slasher, but I'm just saying it kind of started that craze. So there were so many movies that pretty much are the template of Halloween. I mean, it's a slasher, right? And Black Christmas. But no, there was this movie that's story was very similar to Halloween. And that movie was Offerings from 1989. I want you to go to YouTube after this, look up the trailer for Offerings. They literally use almost note for note John Carpenter's Halloween theme in the trailer. And I think there's like one piano note off so they can get away with it. But yeah, that's it. Jewel just said it. Offerings from 89 is definitely a Halloween ripoff. Thank you. You beat me to it. Okay. Jesse says, Johnny Mnemonic sucked ass all decade. Okay. Yep, you were right. Offerings. That's it. Beat me to it. I always say you guys are smarter than me. You really are. Okay. The Prowler 1981 was not a ripoff of Halloween. Now, the Prowler, one thing that was interesting about the Prowler is it had a killer that came back, I think, 40 years later, which is very similar to Halloween 2018. So one might say Halloween 2018. I don't want to say ripped off because I'm sure they weren't ripping off the Prowler, but it's just kind of a similar premise. Kind of similar. Okay. I haven't seen Offerings yet, though, Dave. I'll have to check that one out. Speed was the greatest action movie of all time. I remember seeing Speed. Me and my wife, we saw Speed in the theater, 94. And I tell you, after that movie was over, every asshole was speeding out of the movie theater parking lot like they were Keanu Reeves. It was hilarious. There was almost like 10 accidents. Everybody thought they were Keanu Reeves, and they thought they had to keep their car above 55 miles an hour. Freaking idiots. Tony Movie, Chappie, D9, District 9, Neil Blomkamp, #1 fan. Love saying his channel name, by the way. Haley, just wanted to tell you that I watched Paranormal Activity 1 and 2. I love it. One of those movies that I feel a dame that I didn't watch this when I was getting into the horror genre in my teens. If I remember correctly, because I've only saw those movies once, I think I did like the second one better than the first one. I think I did. Now, Gary Rangel thinks that John Wick is the best, and he says The Watcher's underrated. I definitely agree with that. But I think the best one is The Matrix. I mean, The Matrix, man. Now let me take you guys back if you're not my age, okay? I saw The Matrix in the theater, 99. 99, by the way, is what a fucking year, okay? But I went and seen The Matrix in the theater. Casual opening weekend. A lot of buzz around this movie, but it was a movie that nobody had ever, heard of. It wasn't a remake. It wasn't a sequel. So the next week, this Eddie Murphy movie called Life, which nobody even remembers now, was number one. The next week after Life, Matrix jumped back up to number one for, I believe, another couple weeks. And that was because of word of mouth. Word of mouth is, word of mouth still helps, but it seems like these days movies, they got their first weekend, they drop off, boom, we're on to the next weekend. But back in 99, and before that, maybe a little after that, if a movie was like The Matrix, it was almost like a cultural phenomenon, Same thing with like Titanic. When Titanic came out, that movie only made like, I want to say, I'm just guessing like $30 million. And then the next weekend, it made $30 million. And then the next weekend, it made $30 million. It just kept doing it. And it was number one for 12 weekends in a row. So I don't even know how I got on this topic. But yeah, I've always been interested in like box office numbers too, though. So that's kind of a weird thing with me. Okay. I have another question for you guys. We talked about Loomis. What kind of surprises do we want in Halloween Kills? I thought this would be kind of a fun thing. So I'm going to be looking at some of your answers. Let me know what some of your surprises that you want out of Halloween Kills. And the first one I'm going to mention is going to be pretty obvious to you guys. Okay. Sean Mahoney, I did not see Life, so I don't want to say it was a bad movie. I'm just saying it was a movie that like nobody remembered. So, all right, it's monster time. I told you I wouldn't make it through this thing without a monster. So I'm gonna go get a monster. I'm gonna come right back, and then we're gonna talk. So while I go get a monster, type in there what surprises you would like to see. Think back to like the entire franchise. What's something from the franchise that you might like to see pop up in this movie? Or something completely new and interesting, okay? Get your answers ready. I'll be right back in like 1 minute. My Own Private Idaho rocks. So I just sat down and I hope to God that you guys didn't see my pants unbuttoned. My pants are a little bit too tight right now. Don't you hate it when you put on your tight pants? And I know you have a pair of tight pants. I know you do. I'm looking in the replay right now. No, okay. Yeah, it didn't show my pants unbuttoned. So I pretty much just told you guys that my pants are unbuttoned. But I'm going to keep my hands up here for the rest of the stream, okay? I swear to God. Okay, I see some. All right, I see some wants in the chat there. Nocturnal Toothbrush. I'll start with that one. That's a good one. Nocturnal Toothbrush says, "I'd like to see Jamie Lee Curtis die violently straight away in Halloween Kills." Do we think that's gonna happen though? Probably not. She's going to be in the movie but you know what? It would be a huge surprise if they kill her off like right at the beginning. But we've seen those behind the scenes photos where she's like laying on the gurney and all this stuff. But I don't know, it could happen. It could happen. I do want her to die violently though. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that because I hate the character. Of course I don't hate Laurie Strode. No, but I want her to die emotionally. I guess that's pretty much what I'm saying. Yes, Derek, I do get a little bit too excited talking about Halloween. Thanks for sharing about the pants. Let me see if I can button my pants. Hold on just a second. Nope. Damn. If I stand up, I probably can, though. Okay? You have a pair of tight pants, too. Don't judge me. All right? Yeah, so Jesse says kill Jamie, too. I think Karen needs to take one for the team. I'm with you on that one, Holly. And that kind of ties into my first want. But I want to read a couple more years. Hold on. Kills comes out this year. Kill her in the shower like her mother in Psycho. That would be kind of interesting. I don't think, based on what we've seen, I don't think that's going to happen. Matt Malacocchio, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Galford's dog loves me. Some Angela Pleasance. Angela Pleasance. Is that, is she related to Donald? Angie Garcia says, I loved that concept of that fan film you mentioned recently about Dr. Loomis's grandson to take on Michael. I'd never thought of that. Yeah, you should. Halloween Night is the movie, guys. If you haven't seen it, definitely go on YouTube, search it out. I reviewed it, so I posted a link in my info if you want to check out my review for it. But it was a spoiler-free review, too, but it was really good. It's probably one of my favorite fan films now. You know, that one and Never Hike Alone are close. And it doesn't hurt that I'm such a fan of Halloween. But it's a really, really solid Halloween film. I'm not just saying that. I'm being really serious here. But especially like, and I won't give anything away, but there's a kill in the middle that was really, really well done. You know, and it reminded me of like what Carpenter did with the, you know, building the tension and all that stuff. And I loved it. I really did. So, and I'll go ahead and talk about, oh, hold on, Scott, we got another wish list here. Scott Stevens says, Lindsay Wallace needs to survive, needs to be one of the final girls. Lindsay better not be killed off. Wouldn't that be awesome if, you know, if they throw, like, what if the first movie, Allison and Karen are a red herring the whole time? You're thinking in this next movie that they're going to be, one of them is going to be the final girl. What if it's Lindsay fucking Wallace? Did I just get a chill bump? Hold on. Fuck. I just got a chill bump because Lindsay Wallace, if you made her the final girl, that would be the most badass thing that you could possibly imagine. Who said that? Let me roll back up here. Hold on. God damn it. Who said that? Somebody said Lindsay Wallace, and I want to give them credit. Hold on. Yes, Scott Stevens. I literally said your name, too, before. Scott Stevens, you're the freaking player of the day. If you made Lindsay Wallace the final girl, that would be amazing. And I think you guys probably never even thought about that, but you're probably thinking it now, right now. How badass would that be? Speaking of badass, and this one's going to divide you right in half, okay? And it's one you've heard a million times. Danielle Harris. All right? I am a huge Danielle Harris fan. Nostalgia plays a big part in that because I talked earlier about Halloween 4. You bring back Danielle Harris in this movie. You bring back Jamie Lloyd in this movie. I would flip out. Like, here's the scene. I'm going to set this up for you, okay? Karen is running her ass off from Michael. There's this great chase going on. Her and Allison were running. Allison she falls. She gets knocked out. She's out of the picture. So now it's just Karen and Myers running. Karen runs around like, let's say like a shed or a tree or something like that. Myers, he cuts her off at the pass, right? Myers takes, like, let's say Myers has a machete. Why can't Myers have a machete? He's had a few things in Halloween 5, right? As she comes around the pass, Myers takes that machete, spins it right around, cuts her head clean fucking off. Like, Karen's head just rolls off. Myers takes her head, he punts it. I got so excited in my freaking headphone. He punts her head into the woods. Out of the woods comes Jamie fucking Lloyd. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to drink my Monster. I want you guys to marinate in that. You didn't want Jamie Lloyd. You didn't want Danielle Harris. Now you do. I would drop my mic, but my mic's hooked onto this little drop arm thing here. And if I do that, then I'll break my mic. I don't want to do that. Zach, you freaking Debbie Downer, you. Jamie doesn't exist in this timeline. Who knows who exists in this timeline? It's Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018. Yes, Jamie Lloyd hasn't existed yet, but she could exist, okay? We know that Laurie Strode, this is her, I believe she says second marriage. No, she had 2 failed marriages, okay? From one of those marriages, she had Karen and she had Allison. I'm thinking they said 2 failed marriages for a reason, okay? And maybe that's a wink and a nod to Jamie Lloyd. But you know what? Just because it's not canon doesn't mean it can't happen. So, I mean, with how many freaking Easter eggs there were in Halloween 2018, I'll go ahead and say it. There were way too many of them. It got in the way a little bit. I think it's possible. Donald Newton, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm working on the script, The Clearwood Murders, Episode 1, The Wrath of Francis. Donald is a member of Killer Flicks. If you go to Killer Flicks, you can search out his work there. He has a lot of his work, his updates he posts on Killer Flicks. So, talented writer. He's chasing those dreams. And you guys should chase your dreams too. Cameron is a douche. Cameron is probably one of my least favorite characters of Halloween 2018. Like, he was just a dick. I don't know. When he threw her phone in that freaking bowl, what an asshole. Yeah, I think he had potential to be a likable character, but then they made him an asshole, pretty much. Bobby Hall says, bring back John Carpenter to reprise his role as Paul, Annie's boyfriend. He needs to get revenge, and he can be the final guy. John Carpenter, the final guy. That's a good one. I like that. You're welcome, Donald. Oh, man, here we go. Whiplash the Autist. Have your thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker changed for better or worse? They have changed. I still like the movie. And I'll say this, and I've said it before. There are channels that they don't know what to do now because Rise of Skywalker just came out. Nobody gives a shit anymore because we're all dealing with this freaking virus, okay? So, there are channels right now that they don't know what to do because all they did was bash the shit out of Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi. Like these movies were part of the 10 Commandments or something. They're fucking movies, okay? And one thing I've said is that every Star Wars movie has its issues, except for Empire Strikes Back. No, Empire Strikes Back probably has issues too, but I'm telling you, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith I freaking love, but there's people that don't like Revenge of the Sith. You can take any freaking Star Wars movie, Return of the Jedi, Ewoks. If Return of the Jedi came out today, there would be 15 YouTube videos on how the Ewoks destroyed the franchise, and it's a complete piece of shit. Now, having said that, Rise of Skywalker, you can definitely tell that this was a rushed movie. They shouldn't have put these movies out 2 years apart. George Lucas did it 3 years apart for a reason. This movie should have been probably 2 movies instead of 1, because it does feel like it's a little crammed. But one thing I did in my review is I asked, I think I posted this on Killer Flicks, if you had kids, what did the kids think of the movie? Because at the end of the day, kids are like the biggest fans of Star Wars, you know? That's what they were originally made for. And the kids overall, I think, seem to love Rise of Skywalker, just like they loved freaking A New Hope back in 77. I'm not saying Rise of Skywalker is as good as New Hope. It's not at all. But it's better than Phantom Menace. It's better than Attack of the Clones, probably. So, there's 10 different endings they could have given the movie, and I probably wouldn't have minded. That's my opinion, though. It didn't destroy my childhood. It didn't. And we do have a trilogy. The sequel trilogy is probably my least favorite trilogy. But I still have a good time with it. I much prefer Rise of Skywalker over Last Jedi, though. I will say that. What they did to Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, that was the real crime. It's still the real crime. I think it's a big part of it, too, is that Rise of Skywalker, it's new now, and we couldn't wait to punt another Star Wars football. I don't know what analogy I'm making here, but I think those channels or, the Star Wars haters, they couldn't wait to have another Star Wars property after Last Jedi to just completely obliterate. So that's just the nature of the beast. That's the internet world we live in today, and you just got to deal with it, And Matt, I'm not hating on Phantom Menace. The fight with Darth Maul is excellent at the end. All right, I can watch Phantom Menace and still have a decent time with it. I think it's a little bit too political. I don't really buy into all that Senate bullshit that's in the movie. But the pod racing scene's kind of fun. I think they should have started it with... I think Anakin Skywalker should have started as a teenager instead of a little child. But that's just me. All right, what were we talking about? We were talking about, I gave you my opinion on Danielle Harris. Okay, all right. You start talking about Star Wars and you see what happens. It gets a little crazy. I just lost 1,000 subscribers. It's like I just heard 1,000 voices crying in the night because I gave a little bit of credit to Rise of Skywalker. Anyway, Martin Renner, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. I saw Knives Out last night. Pretty good. Rian Johnson isn't a bad director. Knives Out I think it's excellent. I do. The problem is he hated Star Wars and wanted to rock the boat. And Kathleen Kennedy let him. Yeah, I think Kathleen Kennedy let him have a little bit too much power. And you can see why J.J. Abrams kind of, shit all over Rian Johnson in the third movie, because it's kind of rude to take one director's vision in a trilogy and just completely, literally throws the lightsaber over his shoulder. And Luke Skywalker wouldn't have done that, I don't think. Maybe his version of Luke Skywalker would, but no. George Heisman, Haleman, he says, I wonder if Halloween Kills will be in cinemas. I would be shocked if Halloween Kills goes to VOD. With the amount of money they made off of that movie, they're going to do everything in their power to get that movie in cinemas. That's my answer to that. All right, guys, we got an hour behind us. We're still rolling. And I'd say for the second hour, let me see, hold on. Oh, I had one more thing. And if you want to start throwing questions at me or topics that you want me to discuss as far as Halloween goes or any horror franchise, I don't care. We can do that. Like I said, really laid back here. One more thing that I did think might be interesting is what if, and they're not going to do this. This would piss a lot of people off. But what if they threw a Man in Black tease in this movie? What if they introduced a Man in Black figure, but they actually have an idea of what he's going to do, Because if you remember in Halloween 5, the Man in Black was introduced to I just burped. The Man in Black was introduced just to add something else, a new element to the franchise. And they didn't know what they were going to do with the character. And I think this happens a lot too, actually. Where people just add plot lines and they say, I'll just let the next guy deal with it. That's pretty much what they did. They introduced the Man in Black and they figured, you know what, I'll just let them deal with it in Halloween 6. So what if they did that and they actually have a vision, because I've always been interested in the Man in Black. I'm not going to lie. When I saw Halloween 5 in the theater, I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Who is this guy? And, if you keep him mysterious, I think it, and that's my personal opinion. I think it adds something to the lore of the character. They didn't do it right. Don't get me wrong. They completely fucked it up. Big time. But I was interested at first, and I was curious to see where they were going to go. Is that something you guys would be interested in, though? If they offered up a Man in Black, it doesn't even have to be a Thorn type of thing. I'm a Thorn fan. I love the Thorn trilogy. Halloween 5's not a good movie, but I still have a good time with it. So, is that something you guys would be interested in, though? Would be curious to hear your thoughts. Juno 2000 says, I actually got pissed with the Man in Black at the near end of Halloween 5 when I first saw the film. I got pissed at the moment when he walks into the jailhouse and shoots up the cops and you got Myers just all hunched over in the cell. I thought that was bad. David Catone, what's up, man? Did I like Invisible Man? Yeah, I did. I thought Invisible Man was really good. I don't think it was it's still my number one favorite movie of the year, but there just haven't been that many great movies. There's a high potential for it to be dethroned. I'll just say that. I think I gave it a Trapped on an Island, and it's still a really good movie, but I went back and watched it again. Still liked it. The second time I watched it, I was a little bit bored in the middle. And that does happen sometimes, I guess, with movies. I think that when you have slow burns, that's the danger you run into with slow burns is the second watch. Halloween's an example of a slow burn that works every single time. Because John Carpenter constantly builds tension, But certain movies, the first time you're like, yeah, I'm loving this. And then the second time you're like, okay, I sat through this. I know exactly what happens. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's still a really good movie. Yeah. Some interesting elements in that. Holly says, I'd be interested in The Man in Black. I love part 6, except for the producer's cut. Completely agree. I really love the theatrical cut. I think if they would have introduced some elements from the producer's cut into the theatrical cut, that's why I made my own cut of the movie. Then and Halloween 6 is still one of my favorite movies of the bunch. It's still my number 3, the theatrical cut. So, let me see. Okay, Ryan Dinalo, I hope I said that right. Hey brother, from everything you are hearing and seeing so far, how do you think the new Halloween will be stacked up compared to the last one? Thanks, man. And I've talked about this a few times. After about 4 good watches, maybe 5 now, of Halloween 2018, couple things. The problems definitely stuck out. After there's a lot of choices in that movie, and I think one of the big ones too is like the scene with Julian, and the way that scene was handled. Myers should have been scary as hell. They had everything set up perfectly for a really good scare, and then Julian completely killed the tension with the comedy, and that's an example of how to not use comedy in a scene. You can use comedy in a scene in a horror movie, and it can add to the scene, because John Carpenter did this with The Fog. He put a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is on that boat, and there's like a fake jump scare, and it introduces kind of a laugh. You kind of laugh from it, but then after it, the real scare falls down, and it's a 1-2 punch. At first you're laughing at it and you're thinking you're off the hook, and then boom, he hits you right over the head with a frying pan. That's how you do it. They failed miserably for that scene in the movie. So I still think there's some great things about Halloween 2018. I still get chill bumps in that opening scene when hello Michael, when he walks up to him. I still get chill bumps, and at the end of the day, there are certain days where I'm like, I feel like watching Halloween 2018. And to me, that's a great thing. There are certain movies that you watch them once and you're like, I never want to watch that again. But I still have days where I'm like, hey, I'm kind of in the mood to watch Halloween 2018. There's just some really good stuff in it. So I think Kills, based off what I heard, has high potential to be better. But, I've also heard other things where people say it's not the better movie, but it's the more intense. So we'll see. It could go either way. Jason Mongold, when the hell are you going to watch They Live? I can't believe I haven't watched They Live yet. It's literally sitting on my collection in there. And for some reason, I always have some other movie that I need to get to, but I do need to finally watch that movie and review it. I do. Because it is a Carpenter movie. It's a Carpenter movie I haven't seen yet. I still got to watch Assault on Precinct 13 too yet, the original. I've seen the remake, didn't really care for it, but I need to see Carpenter's original. I love the score to Assault, by the way. Okay. Jill, the horror ghoul, she has a question. Check out her Instagram page. Really, really great stuff over there. She says, which music score from all the Halloween films is your personal favorite? I think Halloween 2018 easily has the best one. I'm not shitting you. That is my answer. Halloween 2018, it stacks up. I mean, every freaking track on that album is so good. I listen to it constantly. I've had the first 6 Halloween scores on digital for probably a good, 20 years now, something like that. And I don't constantly go back and listen to them. But for some reason, there's something about that Halloween. Like, I was even listening to it at work, I remember one day. I popped on Spotify. You can go to John Carpenter's playlist. And I just listened to it. It's great music to listen to when you're working. So, yeah, that's definitely my answer. After that, obviously the first movie. Love the second movie. Sometimes I think I like the score to the second movie better. I just love that synth sound. The score for the third movie's excellent. Completely different score, but highly underrated. Yeah, just like Beth said, she loves Halloween 2 or 3. Those 2 scores are so good. I think 2 just has a little bit more meat on it, if that makes sense. 4 is kind of a standard score, it doesn't really do anything crazy. 5 is probably the worst score of the bunch. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I think, is an interesting score because it doesn't use the Halloween theme. And it does have some really moody, creepy music. It's not something that has like high replay value. It goes good with the movie. I'll say that. And I like Rob Zombie's Halloween score. He definitely had more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like a rock sound. It's a Rob Zombie sound. I guess it's got like a little bit of a muddy sound to it. I don't know. But it's definitely not like my favorite score of the bunch. And H2O is probably one of my least favorite scores just because it just doesn't, it's a very ambitious score and there's some beautiful moments in that score, but as a Halloween score, it doesn't work for me at all. To me, Halloween is about simplicity. From the plot to the characters, evil, good and bad, all that stuff. I think that should fall down to the score too. And I think the score in H2O got a little bit too ambitious. And I'd be curious to see if they made a different version of H2O with some more traditional Halloween score elements. Would it make the movie even better? I don't know. False and Proctor says, have you listened to any of Cody Carpenter's music? It's pretty interesting. No, I haven't. I've been curious to listen to his music though. You can tell he's definitely taken in after his father's footsteps, which is cool. The Crow score, Derek Smith. Oh my God, that is a really, really great score. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite scores. Brock Savage says, ever heard that album from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures? No, but I remember a few of those songs in the movie, and I like it. I love Jeff Daniel Phillips. He played 2 parts in the movie. He played the I guess the host of the show with the makeup on, and of course he played the guy that worked at the strip club. Can't afford the new tits. Can you loan me some bones? I love that guy. He's just a scene stealer. But I do like the music from Rob Zombie Halloween 2. Not just the score, but some of the tracks too. Bobby Hall says, I love the main theme in H2O from the opening credits. It sounds evil. I remember when I saw it in the theater, when they first, they're doing like the Loomis. The guy goes, yeah, right. And then they start playing the theme. And I did really enjoy it. But then it's like everything after that, I kind of lost interest. It's just that one little moment, where the score really lifts. Like when Jamie Lee Curtis is, she's got the axe and she goes back in and she screams Michael, and then they play that score. Yeah, you have that one little moment that's cool. But outside of that, it just, especially like the stalking scenes when they like use like Scream music and all that stuff. I can't believe they were actually ripping off Scream in Halloween. Let me see what else we got here. Jason Nike, The Crow next patron watch. That could be a good one, actually. Man, I could watch The Crow any old time. So, yeah, maybe I'll throw that out there when in my next post for Patreon and see what everybody thinks. The Crow would be a fun watch, though, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's my number 2 favorite movie of all time. So. Let me check my notes here again. Let me see what else I got. Okay, while you're throwing questions at me, give me your favorite moment from the franchise. It could be anything. Could be a kill. Could be just a scene of dialogue. Could be just a scene with Myers. Whatever. Is there a certain scene from the franchise that you really, really love? And I guess I'll start because of the delay, but and I think it's an obvious answer too. Annie's death in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I think, is one of the most powerful scenes. And I think that scene is one reason why people are starting to come around to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 more. Some people still hate it with a fiery purple passion, but that is a very powerful scene. Scout Taylor Compton, just she's like falling over Annie, and she's just screaming, that's got to be, I mean, can you imagine that? Your best friend, the person who you live with, you come home and you open the bathroom door and they're laying there naked in a bloody mess. I mean, can you imagine that? So, and I think they handled that scene very well. Say what you want about Rob Zombie as a director, but I think he knocked it out of the park with that particular scene. He really did. Scott Stevens, Halloween 4 rooftop scene, definitely a great one. That's one of the best scenes in Halloween 4. For me, man, I could give you like 5 scenes from Halloween 4 that are freaking amazing. But yeah, that scene's great. You got Michael like stalking Rachel. Now, before that, you see Rachel and Jamie, and they're struggling to even just stay on the roof. So it's already a scary scene to begin with. But then when she looks up and she sees Michael like standing up, and it just ratchets the tension up like tenfold. Again, Dwight H. Little did a phenomenal job directing that scene, and many others from that movie, actually. My favorite scene from Halloween 4, obviously, is the last scene when Loomis sees that Jamie Lloyd, she turned to the dark side. And it was a bait and switch. It was a shock. A lot of us thought that was Myers, because Myers doesn't die. So we thought Myers probably jumped on a truck. He followed him back to the house. And, we thought that was Myers going down the hallway. I did. And then when we see that it's Jamie Lloyd, it's like, oh my God, it scared the crap out of me. I told Danielle Harris that too, actually, when I saw her at Spooky Empire. I was like, if I could tell you anything, I need to tell you my reaction to seeing you with the blood all over your face and everything. And she laughed at me and she said, I apologize. And I said, man, that's why I love the movie so much. So, the opening of Halloween 4 is great. Everybody always mentions the opening. I mean, it really sets the tone for fall and the movie. There's just like a sense of dread in that opening shot of Halloween 4. David Thorson says the ending of Halloween 2. Ending of Halloween 2 is easily one of the best final acts of the franchise. Just because of Loomis willing to give his life. From that moment on, he was just like, my life doesn't matter anymore. I am here to protect this young girl. And, he tells her to get out. He's ready to give his life, and then you get this huge explosion at the end. That's a great pick, actually. I love the ending of Halloween 2. Beth earlier, she picked the opening, that iconic opening of Halloween. I think it's brilliant. Can you imagine seeing Halloween for the first time? There are no sequels, and all you see is like the killer's point of view, and you know it's such a patient scene too. You know, you're standing outside the house. Camera goes forward towards the house, comes around the side of the windows. You're looking in, everything, and you're just thinking like, God, this is a creepy scene already. What's going to happen? You know, and then he goes in the house. I have this thing about like 70s movies and dark hallways. I don't know what it is, but 70s movies had the best dark hallway scenes out of the bunch, and they always were really terrifying. That opening scene right away gives you that, you know? And then you see Myers killing his sister, comes back out of the house, camera pulls back, and it's a 6-year-old freaking kid. I wish I could remember what my reaction was when I first saw that, because I don't remember what it was. And part of me, like, I don't even know if I saw Halloween before. I'm sure I saw Halloween before I saw Halloween 4. But, I mean, what an amazing scene. Amazing scene. And it really sets the tone of the movie, too. You know, especially with that crane shot, and, you know, it's coming up, and you see the family, they're just kind of, it's like a motion still, you know, kind of capturing a moment in time through video, pretty much. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, David Catone says Jamie Lloyd ending Halloween 4. Courtney Sudduth says, in Halloween 2018, when Michael rightfully puts his mask on from the trunk, gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Yeah, and I think a reason that scene is so powerful is because of what just happened before it, you know? It wasn't just Myers sneaking around, stealing the mask, and then going on. No. It was Myers stalking, these two characters, and then he literally kills both of them, and it's really graphic. It's probably one of my favorite kills of the franchise. If Halloween 2018 did anything right, it was the bathroom scene. So then, I remember after that scene, my heart was just pounding. Like, I couldn't believe what I just watched. And I think that scene is a big reason why I completely flipped the fuck out after I saw that movie. Like, I was like, okay, I'm already sold. I love this movie to death, and I haven't even seen like the first, I was like 45 minutes in. But then after all that, you see Myers in this really like depressing, somber music over him putting on the mask. I thought that was a really interesting choice to go that route, you know? Not necessarily that you want to have like a celebration of him putting on the mask, but it was different than like say what Rob Zombie did when he first dons the mask, you know? Yeah, very, very effective scene for sure. Byron Weaver says Halloween 6 strobe light scene in the is my favorite scene in the franchise. Yeah, when he's killing John Strode, the dick. That's a good scene. He lifts his head up, and then his head explodes. And if you look closely at that scene, you can see like hot dogs, because they loaded this fake head with like hot dogs and all kinds of like poultry. It's a funny scene. After I found out that was hot dogs, it ruined the scene for me, because now every time I watch it, I see hot dogs, and I just ruined the scene for you if you didn't know that. Sorry. I just heard Levi. Let me see what else we got here. Hold on. Yeah, hot tub scene in Halloween 2. That's definitely one of the better ones, especially as far as like TNA goes. That's one that everybody kind of harkens to. It's a great one. Tom. Let me see. Hold on. Ungren. So he prefers Zombies mask scene over the mask scene in Halloween 2018. As the actual mask scene, like if you took the bathroom scene away from the mask scene, then I would agree with you. But I like to marry that up with what happened before, you know, I guess the emotion of the scene. I think it made the scene creepier, if that makes sense. Jesse says review Mandy. I have reviewed Mandy. If you do a search on YouTube, you can find my review. I reviewed Mandy, I think, shortly after it came out. Amazing movie, by the way. Okay. Bobby Hall says Linda's death in the original, Myers wearing the sheet and glasses, and the creaky door opening, very creepy. And after he kills her, we see the mask up close in person for the first time. Chilling. Yeah, that's a great scene, actually, especially when she's like, see anything you like? And then, I think it's another example of like having a comedic moment before a kill. And the comedy didn't take anything away from the kill. It's different this time, too, because the comedy's like for the character, but we already know what's going on. We know what's going to transpire after that. So for us, it's not as funny as it is for the character. But, yeah, very effective scene, actually. Haley, I have to go, guys. Take care and be safely. Thanks for this. Thank you, Haley. Have a great night. Have a great night. Yeah, this has been fun. Holly says, I do have to say I love the kill scene of Oscar with the motion sensor lights. Hey, Mr. Elrod. Yeah, that's a really good scene, actually, in Halloween 2018. And I don't think that's ever been done in the franchise. I mean, they've had scenes where they use lighting to reveal Myers. But this was kind of a different way to do it. And I think it was pretty effective, too. I like the scene itself, once he gets to the gate and then, he's impaled, very effective. It's sad that scene's more effective than the actual chase for Allison. But, yeah, still a really good scene, though. All right, let's see what else we got. Juno 2000 says, Halloween 2018 is great. There are some characters I didn't care for. The comedy was weak, but the story, the strong story, best character score, and kills made it great. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. I think that the first half of the movie is stronger than the second half. But I didn't mind the ending, even though they reused the fire from like the Halloween 2. I think they could have went a different route, but still, I still like the scene when she throws like the was it dynamite? It was just like a flare. She throws the flare down into the basement. That scene I liked because of the music that they played over it, where the shape burns. I think that's the title of it. I don't know. It had more of like an emotional feel to it. That's the difference between that scene and the scene in Halloween 2. Even though both of them used fire and flames and everything, they both played out differently. Especially emotionally. I think Halloween 2 was much more abrupt, and it was about just, putting an end to this evil as quick as possible. Whereas this one, you could almost feel like the past between Laurie Strode and Myers. That 40 years that she's been waiting for this moment to finally put an end to him, and she's staring him right down the eye sockets, I guess you could say. So it's a very emotional scene, kind of. Whiplash, the autist, says, my favorite moment is from 2018 at the end. I love the beautiful score that plays over Laurie's. Oh my God, I just said that too. So we were thinking the same exact thing. That works out. Mason from Nocturnal Toothbrush says, I just submitted an idea for the new Halloween movie in Killer Flicks. When you get a chance, let me know what you think. Okay, will do. Definitely. All right. Holly says, poor Oscar, not his fault. Those girls were feeding him guacamole in sexy ways. Well, I thought it was funny how it was that discount Foggy Nelson. Was that Oscar? I think it was Oscar. But he was really like jonesing for Allison. I don't know. I guess he made his move. It didn't work out. So I guess whatever. It was funny though. Bobby Hall says, Lee, do you think it was a mistake to explain the origins of Michael's evil in Halloween 6? Personally, I would have preferred the cult to just be worshippers of Michael without explaining his evil nature. Yeah, I could buy into that. I think I loved Halloween 6 so much because they tried to explain it a little bit. And I think the, not the producers, but the, I guess the director and the Weinsteins, I think they kind of had the right idea. I think they realized that they were giving way too much away in the producer's cut. And they thought this could be bad. So I think they pulled back quite a bit from that. And so I think if you watch the theatrical cut, especially if you've never seen the producer's cut, I think it makes it a better movie. It does offer up a lot of questions, unanswered questions. There's some definitely some what the fuck moments, especially at the very end when all you see is the mask and the syringe. I think I even posted on Killer Flicks my own interpretation of that scene, and it was kind of, just before Myers kills Loomis, he takes his mask off out of respect, and so you hear Loomis's scream. And that's my own interpretation. I don't know if that's what they meant for the scene to be, but that's kind of what I take from that scene every time I watch it. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a bittersweet feel as well. There's like a sadness to that scene. I'm gonna let my dog in here. Hold on just a sec. Okay. Jesse says, "Are you a Godzilla fan?" Yeah, I love Godzilla. The 1998 movie, I remember I was really excited about that one, and it was bad. Like, and I'm not like a diehard Godzilla fan to where he's got to look exactly like he looks in the the Toho movies. And I remember the trailer for that one coming out, and it got me even more excited because all you see is like the pier of New York. You see the fishermen, and you see the size, the scale of Godzilla as he's like coming towards the pier. And that is probably one of my favorite trailers. It is such an effective trailer without showing Godzilla at all. So it sucks that was such a great trailer, and then the movie itself was just really bad. It's one of those movies, every time I watch it, it's like I don't like it even more. It's bad. I don't mind the 2014. I don't think they've nailed a good Godzilla movie yet. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I will say I'm a King Kong guy. Like, I prefer King Kong, and a lot of that has to do with nostalgia. When I was King Kong 76, I saw that when I was probably like 5, 6 years old. It was playing on like NBC, I remember back in the time. This was probably like 1979, 80. It came out in 76, but I was 3 years old at the time, so I wouldn't remember it. But I remember when it came on NBC, King Kong like scared the crap out of me. When you got like Jessica Lange, about midway through the movie, they don't even show King Kong until like the middle of the movie. And they bring her out to this big platform, tie her hands up, and she's like screaming and everything, and then you see King Kong's eyes coming through the forest and everything. And then you see like the scale, the size of him just standing in front of her. And I just remember when I was a kid, it just like scared me to death. And you look at 76, King Kong 76 now, it looks kind of silly, especially the guy in the suit. And he looks kind of like a pervert. But back then, to me, it was like larger than life. Plus, I was, like any little kid, I was really into like creature features and stuff like that. But King Kong always had a special place in my heart. So Godzilla, I guess I wasn't like, I knew of Godzilla. And like I said, when the 98 movie came out, I was excited to see it. But they just haven't nailed a Godzilla movie yet. And I really didn't like King of the Monsters. And I know a lot of people loved that one that are fans of like the Japanese movies. But to me, I don't know, I just hated the characters in the movie. And honestly, the fights were only okay, I guess. So I'm looking forward to King Kong versus Godzilla, though. I really am looking forward to that. Like, I'll be there day one for that. Like, I love a good monster movie, okay? Courtney Sudith says, who would you like to see Michael go against in a film? Freddy, Jason, Pinhead? I'm not really for a Myers versus movie. I just think you're asking for trouble if you do something like that. I know that Michael versus Pinhead came really close to seeing the light of day. But luckily, it didn't happen. And I think the reason being is because Jason and Freddy, they kind of lend themselves to those types of movies, especially Jason. Jason's just a campy, no pun intended, fun type of character. And Freddy, especially in those movies after like part 3, I mean, he begs for a versus type of movie, And I don't even like the movies that much after part 3. They have a quality to them, but he's not scary anymore. But Michael has always been this like really evil type of character. And if you put him against somebody like Pinhead, for me, it just takes something away from it. So I don't think I'd want like a Myers versus movie. I'd probably go watch it. I mean, I'd definitely be there day one, but I don't think it'd be that great. King of the Monsters was good for the fights, sucks for the characters. Man, I hate the characters in King of the Monsters. The 4K looks good, though. 4K looks great. Somebody was saying earlier that they, I think they were watching Joker. That is a freaking amazing movie. I have the 4K of that and haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet, but I saw it in the theater. Man, I tell you, what a performance by Joaquin Phoenix. It's so good that you almost don't want them to make a sequel, and they're probably going to beg him to come back for a sequel. But as far as like I'm a guy, I love a good performance in a movie. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate that. I love a good performance in a movie. I just reviewed The Exorcist 3. Brad Dourif's performance in that movie make it worth, automatically it's a good movie because of his performance, but it's a great movie all around. George C. Scott. It's got a really great last act. I can't believe it took me this long to finally watch Exorcist 3. But Brad Dourif's performance, if you haven't seen Exorcist 3, watch it. You will be floored by how good he is in that. And he's young. This is like 1990, yeah, when this came out. A good example of that too is like movies like Casino and Goodfellas. Those movies are great because of the performances. You literally believe that those guys are those actual characters because they're just so good. That's the way Joaquin was with the Joker. You really felt like he was that character, And I always thought never tell the Joker's backstory, but that movie proved me wrong. If you do it in a certain way, then yeah. Daniel Chavez, he says he loves... you know what? I forgot. There is a shout-out I said I would give. Somebody on Twitter asked me to give him a shout-out during the stream. And I want to do that real quick. Here it is. Yeah, Mike Woodard. He says, I want a shout-out. Look forward to the live stream. So Mike Woodard, if you're there, there's your shout-out. Michael Myers wants to know who my favorite Terminator villain is. That's easily going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first movie. I like the T-800 as a villain. And I think that's a big reason why I like the first movie over all of them. It has a slasher element to it. But thank you, Holly. Very nice of you. But the slasher element of the first Terminator, I think, wins over all the rest of them because the Terminator is the ultimate villain. Like, I remember when I first saw the Terminator, because this movie came out 7 years before Terminator 2, guys. And I remember watching that. He scared the crap out of me. I was a little kid at the time. But this was, it's like Kyle Reese said to Sarah in the car. He's this force that will not stop ever until you are dead. And that's what he was. There was no pity, no remorse, no nothing. Chase Moser says, thoughts on Scream 5. Bring it on, man. I've been shouting to the mountaintops, bring me a Scream 5 pretty much for the last few years now. I'm ready. I want another Scream movie. I think there's a lot more stories to tell. When you have a property like that can have a different killer every single movie, why not? I miss Wes Craven as much as you guys do. I think Wes Craven would want the franchise to go on. I think there's a lot of great, eager, young directors out there that could really bring some new life into the franchise. I think you could have... It's the one franchise that begs for like another trilogy, So I say bring it on for sure. I would love to see another Scream movie. The possibilities are endless. Kev24 more. Ever watched Chud? No, I've heard about Chud, but I've never watched. I don't even know what it's about. Mason, I loved Scream 4 actually. Scream 4 is my second favorite movie out of the bunch. Keelan Pelcher says, would you like to see Halloween Kills' final act be in a hospital? Yeah, I would actually. I have a thing for hospital slashers anyway. I wouldn't even mind it if the whole movie took place in a hospital. But, as long as the execution's great, you can set it anywhere. But so I would totally be for a hospital, actually. Bobby Hall, how would you rank the Terminator movies? Definitely the first two. The first one is my favorite. Terminator 2 is my second favorite. And this is where it gets... I'd say Salvation is number 3. The last one, Dark Fate, is number 4. Dark Fate had some interesting elements in it. Definitely not perfect, but I didn't mind it. Terminator 3 would be next. And then Genesis is... I just recently watched Genesis again, I think like right before I saw Dark Fate, and I forgot how bad that movie was. And I can't believe in the trailer they gave away, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Genesis, but I can't believe they actually gave away that John Connor was a Terminator. Jesus, man. That's cries desperation if you give away something like that in a trailer. Angie says, do a review of Stallone's Lockup. I'm actually planning on doing Lockup. Some Neat Nakari actually sent me the 4K of Lockup recently. Lockup's one of those movies I think is highly underrated. Nobody ever talks about it. A young Tom Sizemore was in there. I have a thing for prison movies anyway. And I really like Stallone. I think Stallone's a very charismatic actor, and I think that's one reason why he still has a great career. He's just a very likable guy. Because he's got a little bit of that everyman quality in him, but he's also got a little bit of that action hero, a lot of the action hero, actually. And I think Lockup embodies a lot of that. Lockup was one of those movies where he tried to have like a little love interest thing in there, but he didn't, for most of the movie, he's in the prison, so his love interest isn't there with him. But she's the anchor of the movie because he wants to get out so he can be with her again. And so this is a guy who's got he's got 3 weeks, because he's doing time for just, I think it's like a B&E or something like that in the movie. So he's got 3 weeks left, and then he's got this, they ship him to this warden who wants to make his life a living hell. And he goes out of his way to try to get Stallone's character to commit another crime to keep him in prison for the rest of his life. So it's a good plot, too, actually. Some really great characters in there. Sonny Landham from Predator is like the main villain in the movie. Or not the main villain, because Donald Sutherland ultimately is the main villain, but Sonny Landham, I mean, that's an intimidating dude. Like, Sonny Landham actually had bodyguards to protect not Sonny Landham, but other people from Sonny Landham. That's a true story. If you like, I think that's in like the Predator documentary. They talk about how crazy Sonny Landham was, and he's so good in Lockup. Like, there's the one scene where they're around the prison yard, and he walks up to Stallone, and he says, "That's my seat," you know. And Stallone's like, "What?" You know, it's just like he's in an environment that he's not familiar with whatsoever. And I think Lockup kind of gives you a bird's eye view of like what it's like to be in prison and how scary it can be. You know, it's a whole new system in there. And I'm surprised the movie didn't do better, but this was during a time where Stallone's career was really tanking. You know, and the 90s weren't kind to Stallone at all, for the most part. But Lockup's a good one. I like Lockup. Sonny Landham was a great as Billy in 48 Hours. Yeah, he was. 48 Hours is classic, man. That's one I used to watch constantly back in the 80s on HBO. Used to come on HBO all the time, and Eddie Murphy is so funny in 48 Hours. And I think that's one of the movies that has like it's got like the most uses of the word fuck. You know, it doesn't have like the record, but I just remember they say fuck like so many times in the movie. It's crazy. DeReal Sean says, just watched Sweet 16 for the first time this morning and really enjoyed it. Have you seen it? If so, what are your thoughts on it? That's one that I've always meant to watch, but I never got around to it. That's, you know, it's one of those umpteen slashers that came out in like the 80s. But I definitely want to check it out, so I'll definitely add it to my list. I'm always looking for more slashers, but I've definitely heard of it. Ever seen I See You with Stallone? Yes, I did. I saw it like way back when it first came out, and I think that's one of those movies that went through like development hell, and they didn't even release it in theaters. And it went under a different name, I think, in like another country. But I don't. It's one of those movies I saw it, but I don't remember it at all. I just know that there was like a serial killer in the movie, and I've heard don't watch the trailer because they kind of give away the killer in the freaking trailer. But it's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. I know that. Yeah, Driven was another one that was Stallone that he wrote Driven. But it's another one of those, it just didn't do that well. Jason Nike says, I was hoping for Expendables 4, but I doubt it's ever going to happen. Yeah, unfortunately, I think, you know, that franchise ran its course. I like the first two movies. I think the third movie was a step in the wrong direction. But, yeah, get the fuck out of here, Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop's another great one. It's another one that I'm glad Stallone wasn't in the movie and it was Eddie Murphy. That role, it fit Eddie Murphy perfectly. Axel Foley. And what's funny is like if you're a Breaking Bad fan, if you're a fan of Mike, the character Mike in Breaking Bad, he was actually in Beverly Hills Cop. So you'll see a young Mike in Beverly Hills Cop. He used to do a lot of like character actor roles in the 80s. It looked completely different. Willie A., you're welcome, man. I appreciate it. Beth, what would be your top 3 Stallone films? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one because I would say Rocky would have to be in there. I would say First Blood would have to be in there. I know those are cliche answers. What would number 3 be, though? Probably Cobra. I'm a big Cobra fan. I'm sure I'm missing one in there, though. But Copland's a really good movie, too, actually. Like, I really love Copland. That's another one that somebody just sent me. I've been meaning to get that one now. I don't have to buy it. But I need to watch Copland again. That's a really good one, actually. If you like a good character-based movie, Copland is excellent. But, yeah, I think those are my 3, Beth. Oh, Rocky 4. Yeah, so this is a really bad answer, but Rocky Rocky 4, and First Blood. I love Over the Top. That's the thing too. I'm such a Stallone fan that I love like most of his 80s movies, and 70s movies. He's that's my guy, There's so many, and so it's hard to pick a top 3. So if I did like a ranking of his movies, I'd probably get some dislikes because my top 3 would be like so generic. Tango and Cash is okay. Demolition Man's great. That one's really fun. I know there's one that's like. Now he did some that were like Fist. Did any of you guys ever see Fist? That's one that's really forgettable. It came out in like 77, 78, something like that. Another one that I do like actually is Victory, the soccer movie with Stallone. That one's pretty decent. But Copland was cool because he hadn't had a hit in so long, and he wanted to prove himself as an actor again. And so he pretty much put all his own money into the movie, and he didn't make anything off of it. But we ended up with a great movie. It didn't do that well at the box office either. Specialist is a laughable movie. It's okay, but it's just another one of those the Miami Heat type movies, and you had the sex scene with Sharon Stone because Sharon Stone was really big at the time. She was kind of like the siren of the day after Basic Instinct. But talk about one of the most awkward love scenes I've ever seen in my life is the love scene in The Specialist. I don't know. It's weird seeing your childhood idol doing a very like sexy love scene. I don't know. It was very strange for me. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, I don't want to be seeing this. It was really weird. Yeah, I mean, you could do a lot of bad ones, like Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Jesus. Rhinestone. I remember watching Rhinestone. You know what? I had a good time with Rhinestone. It's a horrible movie, but I actually liked his chemistry with Dolly Parton in the movie, and especially when he's doing that song Drinkenstein, which is really funny. Stallone can't sing for shit. I need to look at the backstory on the movie because how in the hell did he get roped into freaking Rhinestone? Rocky Balboa is a great one. Hell yeah. And such a great comeback story too, because the story behind the movie is like he spent like I think 6 years trying to get the movie made, and everybody was like, "You're done. Your chance is over." And somehow, some way, he was able to get it made, and it ended up being great. I don't know how this last part turned into a Stallone love fest, but I'm fine with that. I love Stallone. That's my guy. Stallone in a Halloween movie. How would that go over? I don't know. If you put an M16 in his hand, that's it. Call it a day. Ooh, Assassins. That's another good one. I forgot about Assassins. That's an underrated movie, actually. With a very young Julianne Moore, I remember. Antonio Banderas. Yeah, Assassins that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, Frank Stallone. He's a musician. He actually sings in the first couple Rocky movies. He's like one of the bums that sings around the fire in the neighborhood. But Frank Stallone's got a good voice. It's a certain type of voice, but it's a good voice. Bobby Hall says, "Hey Lee, if you ever get a chance to check out my H6 cut, I definitely appreciate your feedback. I haven't gotten many comments about it." Yeah, man, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. Next time I watch Halloween 6, I'm watching your cut. All right? That's what I'll do. Oscar is easily the worst Stallone movie by far. Whew. That is a tough movie to get through. I'm trying to think of Judge Dredd. What'd you guys think about Judge Dredd? It's fun. It's got some fun moments in it, but I don't know. It's a little bit. They tried to. It was over the top. No pun intended. You know what I mean? Rocky 5, that would be on the worst list. Now, do you guys think we'll see Stallone in Creed 3? I don't see that happening at all. I think he's done with it. He pretty much gave that, he tipped the hat in Creed 2, and I don't see him coming back in Creed 3. But anyway, guys, I think that's about it. I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're nearing the 2-hour mark. That's what I usually like to make my streams. But, I mean, just to recap, we did talk about Halloween Kills. I think the movie's still going to come out in October. I think within the next 6 to 8 weeks, I think hopefully we're going to start coming out of this mess. And a lot of, believe me, they're wanting to get our movie theaters back up and running as quick as possible. And a lot of those movies, especially like the October movies, September movies, they're going to keep those release dates if they can. September will be an interesting month because historically September is kind of the crap month. It's like January Part 2. But now we have a lot of big movies that have been pushed back, like Wonder Woman, like Black Widow, a few other ones. Could they use that September real estate? I know August is for Wonder Woman. But, I mean, September is kind of prime pickings. People are going to be anxious to get back out there. But October, I think Halloween's still going to come out, and I think Venom's still going to come out. And I know that they're still, like, doing some post-production on Halloween Kills. Nick Castle himself was doing some audio work, some breathing. So they're still trying to button it up, get the post-production done. So I think they're still doing what they can because they do want to shoot for an October release date. So, that's pretty much the biggest news that I got for you on Halloween Kills. Had a blast chatting with you guys, though. I always look forward to doing these. And more importantly, guys, I just want you guys to stay safe, take care of your families, take each day one day at a time. One thing I've noticed is just the positivity around everyone and how everybody just, we find the positivity in everything that we do, even though that we're stuck here. That's one good thing about the internet too, all the content that we get on YouTube and streaming and all that stuff, at least it's keeping us occupied. It's giving us something to do. And another thing is a lot of you guys that, you're at home. Some people, unfortunately, have lost their jobs, but at least it gives families a chance to be stronger with each other, rebuild that family dynamic. So if anything, it's given everybody a chance to kind of reflect. So I think there's some good that's come out of this. And of course, there's some horrible things that have come out of it. But don't sell TP for $40. That's pretty much the theme of this stream. I'll go ahead and change the name after this, Beth. I'll call it Don't Sell TP for $40. And I'll leave Halloween Kills. I'll put a hashtag, TP $40, hashtag Halloween Kills. There you go. Keep them guessing, right? There you go. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a great night. Take care of one another. And I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to find the quit button here. But, love you guys. Have a great one.